Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an awesome day today. So I'm so excited to be back today with my first ever thrifted transformations video. I recently picked up this dress from Goodwill, and while it's very dated and very 90s and has shoulder pads, I loved the very drapey polka dotted rayon fabric. So I decided to turn it into this little vintage French inspired tea dress, and I absolutely love the way it turned out. I just added some fun detailing to it and slightly altered it. So I thought I'd share those techniques with you guys today in case any of you want to apply them to your own thrifted transformation. So I'm starting by grabbing my seam ripper and removing the shoulder pads. I definitely didn't want these, and I just removed them with my seam ripper and discarded them. And then I got started on seam ripping the entire facing. So the facing is this piece of fabric that finishes off the neck edge and the collar, and I knew I wanted to remove the collar and create a really clean V-neck. So I started by using my seam ripper and scissors to remove the facing. To create my V neckline, I'm cutting away from the collar to the bottom neck edge of the dress to create this really nice V shape. So I'm doing that on both sides, repeating the exact same line, and then finishing it off by cutting away the back piece of the collar, creating a nice curve. So the V-neck's looking pretty good, but I do want to create a facing so there's no raw edge. So I'm taking my original facing and simply transferring the exact same lines to my facing so that it matches up with my dress neck edge. Once my facing is complete, I'm just going to pin it around the neckline by placing the right sides together so both printed sides are together here so that I can turn it to the inside once I've sewn it down. And after I finish pinning this, I'm just going to sew all the way around the neck edge with a straight stitch, making sure to backstitch on either end. I went ahead and turned my facing to the inside and pressed the neck edge, and now I am cutting away 6 inches of the bottom hem. I wanted to shorten the dress a little bit, and I also wanted some extra fabric that I could use for some sleeve detailing, so I am getting that from the hem of this dress because it was quite long already. So I'm just measuring as I go around and trimming away 6 inches of length. Before I move on to the sleeves, I did want to add a little bit more shape to the dress, so I'm removing these little tabs from the back of the dress. They are sewn into the side seams, so I removed them from the side seams. And I also went ahead and took in the dress just about an inch on either side when I sewed these gaps up, which I did off camera. To give the dress just a little more shape, I wanted to add some elastic to the back. You can see how when that middle part gathers in, it gives it a lot more shape. So I cut a short piece of elastic that would gather it to the length that I wanted. And then I simply sewed this across the waistline from those back 2 seams, stretching it as I went to gather the fabric. And this gives it a really comfortable fit and also takes the waist in just a little bit. So I knew I wanted to create a tie style sleeve, so I started by removing the original hem allowance from the sleeve and cutting a little V shape in the center, which I then folded under twice and sewed down with a straight stitch to finish off that edge. For the tie cuff, I cut 2 pieces of fabric that would extend slightly longer than the actual hem of the sleeve, and I am sewing up the ends that extend a little bit further so that they have this cute little tapered detail, but leaving that middle part open so that we can attach it to the sleeve. So I've gone ahead and turned and pressed the cuff and made sure to turn the edges of the opening to the inside and press those down. And now I'm simply going to place the sleeve inside the cuff and pin that down so that I can top stitch it with a straight stitch. sleeve is top stitched. It's all done once you tie it in a knot, so I'm just tying it here and adjusting it. And I think this is such a great detail that you could add to so many different projects. It's really, really cute and very of the moment. So now I am just going to serge off the bottom hem of the dress and go ahead and turn this under and stitch it down with a straight stitch. So now the dress is hemmed and there's just a few more details to go. I am going to switch out these buttons. They're really pretty buttons, but I thought that they were a little bit too harsh with the dress, so I picked out some faux tortoiseshell buttons that I'm going to replace them with. And I think they just look a lot more natural and subtle with this navy color, and I like how they go with different brown accessories. So I'm just removing the buttons, and then I will replace them with the tortoiseshell buttons by sewing down the buttons by hand. And while I have my needle and thread out, I am also going to tack down the facing. You can see that I split mine here from the button placket facing, so I'm just whip stitching that back together. And I'll also tack my facing down at the shoulder seams just so that it doesn't peek out when I'm wearing the dress. And lastly, I am just removing the label because I like to replace the label with my own label whenever I am making a project. So I'm just taking this old label out and tacking on one of my little labels from my Etsy shop. And with that, the dress is all done. I love the kind of vintage styling that it has, but it definitely feels very fresh and modern. So I'm really happy with how it came out. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing how I put it together. Thank you so much for watching and spending your time on my channel today. And if you're new to my channel, I would love for you to go ahead and click the subscribe button so you can keep up with my future videos. It would mean a lot to me. But thank you guys so much for watching and spending your time on my channel today. I will link to a playlist of DIY videos at the end in case you'd like to check out more that I have done. And I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!